Bruh, I am killing it with this Natara fanfiction. Hello, baby. Did you miss me?
Jesus Christ! What? This doesn't make any sense!
How do you still have knives? Fighting game logic, baby. As long as I reach behind my back, I never run out of ammo. Oh, so it's a trope then. We're just doing tropes today. You think that's annoying? Just wait until I have meter, then I can throw too. Well, thank God they're high attacks, because otherwise... Today's video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global brand for men's grooming and hygiene products. I love Manscaped.com because they offer the best tools and solutions for the three major odor zones: your body, your butt, and your balls. They just launched their new Lawnmower 4.0 waterproof electric trimmer, and now you can get the ultimate Manscaped experience when you purchase their new Performance Package 4.0 bundle. With the Performance Package, you never have to worry about a complicated multi-step grooming regimen, because this all-in-one kit includes all the tools to perfect your grooming experience. From your morning shower to the late night be ready for anything moments. I start off my grooming in the shower with the new Lawnmower 4.0 waterproof cordless trimmer, because it can tackle my groin grooming confidently without any mess. The Lawnmower 4.0 has these replaceable ceramic blades with skin-safe technology and a built-in LED light to help you trim with confidence. With the cool new wireless charging system and the new travel lock feature, you have upgraded your trimmer game. Then after your shower, make sure to apply the Manscaped Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, a quick absorbing, clear drying moisturizer lotion for all-day protection. And now it's time for that midday refresher, so make sure to pack your Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray with cooling aloe vera and anti-inflammatory properties. Trust me, your balls will thank you. Manscaped is so much more than a ball trimming company. The new Performance Package 4.0 bundle now includes their Weed Whacker nose, ear, and hair trimmer. This is a game changer. Do not sleep on trimming your nose hairs, and make sure to avoid painful alternatives like plucking or waxing. Pulling out nose hairs can hurt more than nicking your balls. When you opt in for the full Performance Package 4.0 kit, you get the biggest bang for your buck. You can enroll in their peak hygiene plan and get ongoing replenishments of your favorite products delivered straight to your door hassle-free. And for a limited time, you get not one, but two free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. Go to manscaped.com today and get 20% off plus free international shipping and the two free gifts. Join the Manscaped movement today, because trust me, your balls and your body will thank you. Fighting games are filled with tropes that make zero sense at all. Even so, we accept them because without these tropes, the gameplay just wouldn't be as fun. So today, let's discuss the top 10 strangest tropes in fighting games. Number 1, the Floaty Jump. Pretty much every character in fighting games jumps like they're on the moon. Now for some characters this makes sense, like Dalsim. I mean, the guy can teleport and levitate, so it makes sense that when he jumps, maybe due to some supernatural ability, he can make himself lighter. But then you have characters like Chun-Li, where a floaty jump makes no sense whatsoever. This woman has never skipped leg day in her entire life, so I understand why she can jump really high, but what I don't understand is why she goes down so slowly. Once again, it's like she's jumping on the surface of the moon, which makes no sense because this character is triple C levels of thick, and yet every time she leaves the ground, she suddenly weighs less than a feather. In fact, she can even jump off invisible walls that aren't there. And the Netherrealm characters are no better. Pretty much every character in Mortal Kombat can do a front flip from a standing position and go like 2 or 3 times their body length. And then in some fighting games, characters can double jump, and there's not always an explanation as to why. They just want to, and therefore they can jump a second time. And then you have air dashes and things of that nature. And for some games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, I get it because they can literally fly. But in some games, there is zero explanation for why a character can double jump or hop off walls that aren't there, all that stuff. So that's trope number 1. In pretty much every fighting game, when a character jumps, it's like they suddenly weigh nothing at all. And then for trope number 2, we have infinite weapons or infinite bullets, things of that nature. Once again, Kano's a great example. The guy just keeps throwing knives, and no matter what, he's never going to run out of knives, which makes you wonder where he pulls those knives from, and I think we're better off not knowing. Now see, in early fighting games like Street Fighter, this made more sense because the characters use fireballs, and that was made from their own energy, and as a result, I understand why Ryu can keep throwing fireballs, because he's not unconscious yet and therefore still has a bit of energy, so he can keep making fireballs. But when a character is physically throwing their weapons and then somehow never runs out of weapons, it makes you raise an eyebrow. However, what's even funnier is sometimes the game makes you manually restock your weapons, and that would make sense, except the question still remains, where are they getting more weapons from? I understand Ibuki is reloading her kunais, but where is she getting them from? There's nothing on her back to reach for. How is she getting more kunais? So as you can see, even when the game does try to explain where these extra weapons come from, it completely fails, and as a result we just must suspend our disbelief. And then for trope number 3 we have invisible walls and ceilings and so on. Sometimes you can throw characters against things that aren't even there. The Injustice games are a great example. What the heck am I bouncing the opponent off of? They're just hitting an invisible wall. As you can see, if we move manually, there's nothing there. And yet somehow, whenever I land a back 3, the opponent bounces off that invisible something and then flies back at me. And don't forget about the wall bounce from earlier. Once again, there is nothing there. Even from mid-screen, you can hop off this invisible wall. Once again, it makes no sense. And then we have some characters like Abigail who make fun of this trope by literally sticking you into a ceiling that is not there. Another really great example of this is Jax or Shiva in the NetherRealm games. Both of them have multiple attacks where they throw you against walls that aren't even there. And I won't lie, these moves are a visual spectacle. They're just fun to watch even if they don't make any sense. And then we have trope number 4. Why are weapons even allowed in some of these fighting games? Because I don't think they're allowed in the tournaments the games take place in. For example, you have Yoshimitsu in the Tekken series wielding a sword, but nobody else does that, at least not in the early game. And as a result, my boy Yoshimitsu is just straight up cheating. And I love this guy. He is my favorite fighting game character, but he is cheating and you can't deny that. And since he's cheating, why aren't the villains cheating as well? Characters like Brian, you're telling me he wouldn't cheat and use a weapon? And honestly, for Mortal Kombat, this trope is even worse because plenty of the good guys use guns and some of the bad guys do too. However, not the characters who would get the most use out of them. Characters like Goro or Collector, imagine if every single one of their hands held a gun or a rocket launcher. That's it. That's a wrap. You have 6 different guns or 4 different guns pointing at you. That's over. Like, you're done. And that's why it's a trope. Not just because weapons are suddenly allowed for some characters, but because the most evil characters don't always take advantage of them, and you know they definitely would. And that leads nicely into trope number 5, which is blocking things that would never be blockable, like bullets, for example, or a rocket launcher, anything of that nature. And what's funny is fighting games already have plenty of unblockable attacks. However, in spite of this, some moves that should also be unblockable simply aren't. Once again, like mentioned earlier, you can block gunfire in Mortal Kombat games, and all you take is a tiny bit of block damage. So you're telling me that Sonya can block a bullet, but she can't block Jax when he punches the ground really hard. Now, thankfully, some games do take bullets seriously, like Soul Calibur. In this game, Cervantes does use a gun, and all of his gun-based attacks are unblockable. So at least in Soul Calibur, bullets and gunfire are taken seriously. However, that's not the case for most fighting games. You can block plenty of things that should be unblockable, and oddly enough, one of the few things that isn't blockable are throws. And sometimes bombs. And now it's time for trope number 6, different health bars in fighting games. This design choice is clearly done to make the game more balanced, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Why would Superman have less health than other characters like Batman? Superman is a Kryptonian. He can take a ridiculous amount of punishment. You can squish him in between 2 planets and he will survive. However, even so, in Injustice 2, he has lower health than a lot of characters on the roster. Even less than characters like Batman, who is a squishy human and should therefore be much easier to kill. Yes, I understand he has the Kryptonian pill, but he was still a human beforehand. There's no way he's more durable than Superman. However, sometimes the different health bars do make sense. Characters like Zangief and Abigail having more health makes sense to me because they are ridiculously muscular and probably very durable. And I think even Akuma's very low health bar is explained in the lore. Something about being a glass cannon, the Satsue no Hado makes him very damaging, but he can't take very much damage, something like that. I could be wrong, but I think the game does explain why his health bar is so low. However, the point remains, sometimes the different health bars is just to balance the game. It does not reflect the character's durability in the lore. And now it's time for trope number 7, which is surviving attacks that should definitely kill you. Now, Mortal Kombat is infamous for this, especially in the NetherRealm games. Fatal blows, X-ray attacks, those should all definitely kill you, but the characters just keep on trucking. Yeah, they take some damage, but they keep on going like nothing happened. In fact, a lot of the time the damage you did to them isn't even visible. However, Mortal Kombat is not the only offender here. I recall back in the Tekken days that Heihachi definitely does break your neck, but you just keep on going. And that game's rated T for teen, by the way, and he still breaks your neck. He kills you mid-match, but your character just keeps going. And examples like this are filled throughout every fighting game. Even the ones that are rated E for everyone have moves that should definitely kill you, but the characters just keep on going. And once again, from a gameplay standpoint, that makes perfect sense because it wouldn't be fun to get killed by a single move. However, even if it does serve a purpose, it is still definitely a trope. And in fighting games, you get killed all the time during the match, but yet you keep on fighting. And then this next next trope is actually a story-related one, because for whatever reason, the strongest characters in fighting games don't usually care about the plot or the fate of the world. For example, Beerus does not care one bit in Dragon Ball FighterZ that Android 21 and everyone else is causing a bunch of problems. He could care less. And likewise, Akuma does not care about the events happening in Street Fighter V, even though they're affecting the entire world. And the reason that's so frustrating is because both of these characters could solve everyone's problem if they just cared a tiny bit. If they cared a bit more than not at all, then the story mode would end right there. And for certain characters like Akuma, it just doesn't make sense at all, because that guy loves to fight the strongest person in the room, but for some reason he never goes after M. Bison when he's at his strongest. And that's why it is a trope. And one more great example is Oro. This guy is so strong, he can leap into space, grab a meteor, and throw it at you, but when it comes to saving the world, he just can't be bothered. Honestly, part of me thinks the writers should work towards making these characters a bit weaker, because otherwise, for every future story mode, it's just gonna be a massive plot hole. And then for trope number 9, we have story mode power-ups. Whoever you play in story mode is suddenly the strongest person in the game. Even characters like Stryker can take down Kentaro, one of the most infamous bosses in Mortal Kombat history, but nope, all it took was a cop with a gun and some extra willpower and he could get things done. Now oddly enough, Dragon Ball FighterZ had a decent explanation for this. You, the player, are actually possessing whoever you're controlling, and as a result you make them much stronger. And that's why characters like Krillin could stand up to Cell, even though that makes absolutely no sense. However, for most fighting games, there is zero explanation for why they can suddenly beat a character that is way out of their league. And sometimes this trope can create a paradox. For example, in Mortal Kombat X, D'Vorah is strong enough to beat Tanya, but Tanya was big enough to beat Cassie Cage. However, later on, Cassie Cage beats D'Vorah. As you can see, the writers can never decide which character is the strongest, but one thing is for certain: if you're playing that character in story mode, you are unbeatable. Now, for better or worse, in some fighting games there is not a chapter system. Instead, you randomly ping-pong back and forth between different fighters, so in games like Street Fighter V that do that, the power balance makes a bit more sense. Chun-Li can take on characters like Fang, but she has no chance against characters like Bison, so even though it seems like you want to play Chun-Li because she's the good guy, the game makes you play as Bison because of course he's going to win. However, I'm honestly not sure if I prefer that system or not, because I do like the chapter structure of the Mortal Kombat games. I think that writers just gotta be a bit more careful next time and try to get things right. And now it's time for the final trope, number 10, but this one falls to you. I understand it's a bit cheating, call me a clickbait channel all you want, but number 10 goes to you in the comments section. I want you to tell me about a strange trope in fighting games that makes no sense. And make no mistake, I'm going to read every single comment, and the best ones that I like the most are going to appear in the next video. So once again, trope number 10 falls to you in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It really does help my channel out a ton. And if you haven't already, make sure to suplex that subscribe button. That way you never miss any future videos. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.